I kind of, want to talk about, the players that have left Michigan and just have a little fun, with some of our, our streamers here. And look, there are a majority of players have either graduated, have lost, not lost, but have used all their eligibility or have declared for NFL draft. And I just want to kind of get some thoughts on some people out there. If you had to take a guess, you can give me one guy, you give me a few guys that I'm going to list here that you think will have a decent NFL career. And decent could be, they don't have to be Hall of Famers or all pros, but you think they are good enough to make NFL roster and find a role, right? I give you an example. What random guy that popped to my head, Jordan Lewis. Jordan Lewis. I can't remember where he was drafted, either the second or third round. I had to go back and check, but he was undersized. He's a really good college corner at Michigan, undersized, maybe 5'8.5", 5'9" when he was actually measured. Um, he played the outside at Michigan, but I think he's been mostly a nickel for the Dallas Cowboys. But that's a guy where he was a good college player, but you weren't really sure, will he have a sustainable NFL career due to his size? But he's found a way to, carve out a niche on a pretty good defense in the NFL. So, I got a list of guys here that I'm gonna throw out there, and I just want to kind of get your thoughts, of course, and who sticks out, and what do you think? So we start with Jamon Green, corner. Maji Smith, all know him. D tackle, he's more of a nose tackle. Mike Morris, who's an edge. I say he's probably more of a 3-4 type of edge. I don't see him more as a 4-3 edge, but I guess we'll see. DJ Turner, him along with Maji Smith was on Bruce Feldman's athletic freak list going into the year due to his blazing speed. He had some good flashes this year, but I never quite saw, how can I put this? He never popped, I would say. I thought Will Johnson, if anything, the young corner, popped more than any other corner for Michigan, actually. Ronnie Bell, Luke Shoemaker, the tight end, Ryan Hayes, the tackle, Jake Moody, the kicker, good old Jake Moody, and Oluwatimi, the All-American center. Um, I'll kind of tell. I have my thoughts, but I kind of want to see what you thought. Definitely not any high premium talent like Ohio State will be sending out like guys like Smith and Jigba, but some guys, there'll be some good players.
Yeah, so off that list, Oluwatimi jumps out to me just because I thought that once we got into the season and Michigan started playing good defenses at some point down the line, and really in watching game after game, watching play after play, seeing a lot. You recognize a lot of things, especially I think line play, watching the replay of the play, and it was easy to see early that, and this guy is arguably the best center in the country. Now, how that translates to the NFL, I am not a student of that. I don't follow the NFL mock draft, so we both know that great players in college don't always project.
Right.
Some guys that are underutilized, maybe didn't quite fulfill their potential, do project because of the NFL body, the NFL size, speed, measurements, all that stuff. And so I don't know how he's projecting to the next level, but at this level, I just thought he was phenomenal. I'm curious about Ronnie Bell because I never considered Ronnie Bell a true number one receiver in college, but that doesn't mean that he can't be a productive receiver at the next level. And here's obviously a guy who's got a tremendous work ethic. He's highly skilled in regards to running routes, recognizing coverages, just being a smart player, dependable, sure hands, in all those things. And so if I would think that if he would, I don't think he's expected to wow anybody at the combine, but if he is solid and doesn't disappoint, you have those guys that have really good college careers and people root for them And it's like, we know they're not, you know, elite athletes. And when we say
Right.
elite, obviously, we're talking about the very, very, very
Right.
best.
Right.
And if they just if they don't disappoint, they're so good at their craft that just run a fill in the blank, or just, show
They're
us
football players.
this.
They're just, yeah, they're
Yeah,
football
and I
players.
think Ronnie
Yeah, they're
Bell's
not.
one of
Yeah.
those guys. Just don't really, you know, show us a bad 40 time or something,
Yeah.
and I think he'll
Yeah.
a lot of teams are going to really like him.
Yeah. No, I like that. I kind of like where you're going. Right, Ronnie Bell reminds me. He's one of those guys. I think he's just a football player. He's an athlete. He's a good athlete. He's versatile. I mean, ironically, year the 2021 season where he tore his ACL, unfortunately versus Western Michigan. I mean, he was having an incredible punt return back on that play. Um, had a touchdown earlier that game off a wheel route, I believe. So he showed he's a versatile athlete. I think he's a really good competitor. I think he has the intangibles. I think in an interview, NFL teams would really like. Now we all know the me and Des call it the underwear Olympics that happens in March and April, where they do the 40 times and measure you everywhere. And now he probably be under. If I had to guess, he may be slightly underwhelming there, which will hurt his draft stock. But I think either late round draft pick or undrafted signee, he's definitely one of those guys. I think they can make a roster and and find some kind of role in the NFL. But what's funny that we were talking about Ronnie Bell, we think about college production, right? If you just looked at the athlete, DPJ, Ronnie Bell, you would have thought, especially going into Michigan, that DPJ was 6'2", 6'3", ran like a 4.3, 4.4 coming out of high school. Oh, this kid's going to be an easy first round pick, 5-star receiver, yada yada yada. Deep and he, ironically, he's actually been more productive, I think, with the Cleveland Browns than he was for the Wolverines. DPJ was a 6th round pick. So think about that. A kid that had those physical intangibles, right? That did test really well at the combine and all that. End up being a 6th round pick. What does that mean for a guy like Ronnie Bell, right? So that's where it gets kind of concerning when you kind of look at guys like that. Um, another guy you brought up, you brought up Oluwatimi. I don't worry about someone like him, and it's partly why I'm a little bit concerned about the center position going into next year for Michigan. It's because when you have an All-American center like that, it's not just their strength, their blocking ability, it's recognition, it's the intelligence. They're the quarterback of offensive line. They're calling out protections. They're vital. They're absolutely vital. So I think about an All-American guy like Oluwatimi. He should be able to translate that skill set to the NFL. Now, will he be like the was it what I know it's the Pouncey brother. Was it Mike Pouncey? Both of them play for Florida, right? They were both
Yes.
centers.
Yep.
Okay. You know, outstanding centers, great in college, great in the NFL, right? So yeah, and there's probably numerous guys you could throw in there. I think is it Joe Tooney? Who's the guy for the Chiefs? There's somebody, or no, Lindenberg. There's a guy who played for Iowa
Yeah.
who was drafted. Just typically guys who, especially are centers who demonstrate their ability at the college level, are able to translate that. So I think that was a really good example by you.
Yeah. Tyler Linderbaum, excuse me, at Iowa. He's a rookie in the NFL right now with the Baltimore Ravens. And I saw some post on social media here in the last few weeks that he's graded out exceptionally, especially for a rookie to be that good right out of the gate, right
Yeah,
out of college. And obviously the center position, the two guard positions, anything on the interior, the defensive front. When we think athleticism, the first thing you think about is speed, quick
yeah,
twitch.
yeah,
And obviously that's much minimized at those positions, even compared to left and right tackle. Don't have to get out in space. The foot the foot speed or the foot quickness is minimized in terms of what's needed there at those positions. Excuse me.
Yeah, yeah, and so you don't. It's easier to not get too caught up in, the physical tools, right? You may look at the bench press and all that stuff, but it's the tackles where it's like, wow, this kid is 6'6", 6'7", 320, you know, exceptionally fast and stuff like that, where it really jumps off the board. Um, it's interesting. I brought up about Monty Smith and DJ Turner and how they were on Bruce Feldman's, athletic freak list. You're great at doing deep dives with your statistics. I would love to find out. And actually, I may do this myself and bring it on next week's show. Look at the previous year. He does it every year. The previous years of his list, and to see how those players actually produced that particular season and what their professional outcome was. Because just off recent memory, it's rare where you see these guys that really jump off the board with these freakish physical tools, and they're also great football players. Like there is a difference, man. And a guy like Mozzie Smith, that he was number 2 or number 1 on that list. He played this entire season, where some people think he probably shouldn't have due to a situation, but he played this whole year, and he plays an interior lineman and really a nose tackle type of role. So they don't really have like the sexy type plays anyway. But even so, um, I just never really saw much of him jumping off the field as much. I thought he was a really good player, obviously, but did this 425-pound bench press. I didn't see him pancaking guys, turning offensive linemen and opening up huge gaps for the linebackers to run through. Now, he definitely played a big role for the team, but it's always interesting. Same thing with DJ Turner. His freakish speed. Like I saw him getting burnt a couple times this year too. Especially against bigger receivers. I think he's still chasing Quentin Johnson, to the end zone from that playoff game. So um, it's always good we have a numerous amount of NFL type prospects, because I think that helps your recruiting, a recruiting pitch. But you have to put it all together, and I think that's something Ohio State has done really well.
When you mentioned the name Jamon Green, if somebody would have told me that he would be in this good a position as an NFL draftee after 3-4 games in college, and the start that he got his college career off to, I wouldn't say I would be surprised, but he didn't get off to the best start
Right.
as a corner,
Right.
and he improved considerably after that first season, for sure. And yeah, and the guys that are playing well, we see Aiden Hutchinson having a great second half to his season in Detroit. Obviously, that helps. There's no doubt about that. Hassan Haskins is on the field and producing. He gets playing time.
Dax Hill playing for Cincinnati.
Yeah,